Someone carved 9 words into stone 2,000 years ago. Maya never barked without reason, but now she is silent. That's it. No explanation. No name. Just that. And if you've ever lost a dog, you just felt it. Hold that feeling, because what I'm about to show you is going to make it hit a lot harder. We have this idea of ancient Rome, gladiators, emperors, legions marching across frozen rivers, men who built an empire on the idea that weakness was a death sentence. That idea is not wrong, but it is incomplete. Because buried underneath all of it, underneath the Colosseum, the aqueducts, the war machines, there are dog graves, hundreds of them, spread across the entire empire, with names carved into them. And the men who paid for those stones were not embarrassed. They were not apologetic. Some of them wrote directly to strangers who might walk past. Ye who pass this monument, laugh not, I pray thee, for this is a dog's grave. Tears fell for me, and dust was heaped above me by a master's hand. Read that again. A Roman soldier carved a warning into stone, because he knew people might laugh at a man who grieved a dog. And he carved it anyway, now. In 2011, archaeologists, digging through what they thought was an ancient trash dump on the edge of the Red Sea, stopped. They were not in a trash dump. They were in a cemetery, the port town of Berenike, Egypt, 1st century AD, one of the most remote military postings in the entire Roman Empire. A place so brutal that almost all food had to be imported from hundreds of miles away by camel. And in the middle of all of it, nearly 600 graves, cats, dogs, monkeys shipped from India, all buried carefully. Some still wearing their iron collars, some wrapped in mats. 2 young cats with ostrich shell beads placed around them like jewelry. Here is the detail that changes everything when archaeologists examine the bones. Most of these animals were sick when they died, the dogs especially. Broken legs that had healed badly, joints that had deteriorated. Most of their teeth gone. These animals could not hunt, could not guard, could not work. They were, by every practical measure, useless. And yet, someone had been softening their food in water, carrying them when they could no longer walk on their own, keeping them alive long past the point where survival logic said, stop. Let that sink in. These were Roman soldiers. Men rationing food in a desert outpost at the edge of the known world. Men who had almost nothing. And every morning, one of them was softening bread and water for a dog that couldn't chew anymore. Not because it was required, not because anyone told him to, because he couldn't stop. That detail matters more than any gravestone, because a gravestone is something you do after. Softening food. That's something you do every day, for weeks, for months. Knowing exactly how it ends, and doing it anyway. That is not duty. That is the thing that makes us human. Back in Rome, the gravestones kept telling the same story. A man buried a small white dog named Patricus, and carved this. I am in tears while carrying you to your last resting place, as much as I rejoiced when bringing you home with my own hands. 15 years ago. 15 years. He remembered the exact day he brought that dog home, and he was standing at a grave, remembering it. The best day and the worst day, both about the same dog. Another owner buried a dog named Bull, a tiny Maltese with a name built for something twice his size. The inscription reads, Bull. They called him when he was yet alive, but now his voice is imprisoned in the silent pathways of the night. His voice is imprisoned in the silent pathways of the night. A soldier wrote that. A man trained for war, for discipline, for empire. Wrote poetry about the silence a small dog left behind. And then there is this one. No name, no date, no dog's name, nothing. Just, I have buried my dog whom I loved so much. Let no one disturb his rest. That's a warning. Not carved for history, not carved for posterity. Carved for anyone who might walk past and not understand. Let no one disturb his rest. The cemetery at Berenike was used for 200 years. Generation after generation of soldiers and commanders, all of them burying their animals in the same ground, building something without meaning to. Not a monument, not a record of battles or emperors or conquests, just evidence, that across 2,000 years. The need to love something small enough to hold has never changed. We tell ourselves that tenderness is modern, that grieving an animal is something comfortable people do. After the survival, after the hard part. But the hard part was never finished for these people. They were living inside it, rationing food in a desert, marching through frozen rivers, watching men die. And still, every morning, someone softened the bread. Maya never barked without reason, but now she is silent. Whoever carved that into stone 2,000 years ago did not do it for history. They did it because the silence in that house was unbearable. And they needed someone, anyone, to know why you know why.